Well, hello everybody. Thought I'd make a video today to talk about this wild astral projection I had. It was just incredible. Now, this is kind of in reference to my new book, where I left the earth for a while and went to the spirit world. And a lot of people have said, well, you know, that sounds like an astral projection. It's not. I know the difference. Wow, is that sun bright or what? I'm here in Glenarchy. One of my favorite little walks. This is about 45-minute drive from Queenstown, and I like to just come here and walk and listen to books and think and have my retinas burned out. It's pretty here, isn't it? Showing a little background stuff. Hey, how's it going?
Too bad.
New Australian friends. So now, I think there's two ways to leave your body, all right? Let me show you, this is pretty over here. The two ways to leave your body are astral projection and death, all right? And I guess what happened to me was definitely more like a death. Even though I was perfectly healthy at the time, I was hiking 20 kilometers a day and blah, blah, blah. Look at that, isn't that pretty? This is one of the places we bring our, I do these photography adventures, and this is one of the places we bring them. Now, most near-death experiences, and I've studied hundreds and hundreds of them, are similar to mine, right? Now, mine does have a unique characteristic, which I haven't found anywhere else, and that is mine began when I was standing in front of my bed in Scotland, and I just automatically said these 24 magical words. It might have been 16, I don't know. But they were all just jammed together. I just involuntarily said it, and then I collapsed face first on the bed, and then my soul left my body. I went up to the spirit world for a while. And that's in the very beginning of the book. So it's like the most transcendent experience I've ever had. Times 1,000, you know. And I've had like 3 beautiful children be born, getting married. I've had all these wonderful human, beautiful experiences. But this was that times 1,000. And that doesn't minimize any of those beautiful experiences, by the way. So, an astral projection, you could do these on purpose or on accident. Almost all of mine have been on accident. Someone else takes over the wheel. And there's a guy named Dr. Robert Monroe. He wrote a book called Journeys Out of Body. Switch arms. This is like putting up a shower curtain. I got really tired putting up the shower curtain. You know, then my wife says, "You idiot, why don't you just take down the rod?" I was like, yeah, that does more sense. Anyway, this astral projection that happened to me, of which I've had many, 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 happened right after a Lakota sweat lodge. No drugs or anything involved with this. Let me tell you a little bit about that Lakota sweat lodge and kind of what led up to this event. It was down in Dunedin, which is about 3 hours south of Queenstown. And I was there for 4 nights, and I did 4 sweat lodges. And it's a Native American tradition. Here's another little stop I'll show you. Hello, pretty black swans. That pyramidal shape right there, that's called a noonatak. It's the only Eskimo word that's in English, I think. I used to have a double major in computer science and geophysics. I'm a nerd. Then I had a fight with my geophysics professor. That's another story. Stay on topic, Ratcliff. So this Lakota sweat lodge, it was by far one of the hardest things I've ever done. You get into this little, it's not an igloo because it's, you know, made out of animal skins or whatever, but it's that kind of shape. You crawl in like in the mud, and there's a pit dug out of the middle, and everyone crowds around the outside. You're kind of hunched over because you're at the that's the shape of the thing, and you're often shoulder to shoulder with other people, and it's pitch black in there. And then in that little pit in the middle, they bring these 7 big granite stones. They're called grandfathers, and they're about the size of, I don't know, like a cantaloupe or like a small watermelon, I guess. And they're glowing red hot. So they dump 7 in the middle, and then it really starts to heat up. And then everyone goes around and says their intention, and it's pitch black, right? So all you can see is those glowing rocks. And you're in there with really a bunch of strangers. So there's an anonymity in there. And people start sharing some really wild stuff, as you might suspect, especially as the heat heats up. And then like every 20 or 30 minutes, they bring in like another 7 grandfathers. And the previous ones have not stopped glowing. We don't have water bottles. Sometimes they give us a water bottle like on the last round, and you can leave anytime. There's no shame. God, it was hard. So the first time I made it through all 4 rounds and all 28 grandfathers. The second 2, on the next 2 nights, I actually had panic attacks, which I'm not a panic attack kind of dude. I'm very zen, usually got it together. I mean, I have my moments of weakness, but you know. And then I went to the shaman. They actually called a water pourer in that environment. And I said, dude, I'm having these panic attacks. I don't know what's going on. And then we talked about what my intentions were. Because you go in with a different intention every time. And he said, Trey, just go in and ask for a vision. So I did that. And then that was much easier. And I made it through that time. And I had some really interesting visions. But I'm not going to talk about that now. I'll talk about the astral projection that happened when I got back home. And yeah, when you do these things, it's not like, I know sometimes in Native American traditions, you hear about peyote and other substances. This is like substance free. There's actually so much pain and heat in there, you do see things. Anyway, so I got back home. I actually went with one of my best friends, Dr. Tim Rick. And we went down there together. We rode back together, and he dropped me off at home. I was tired. I was dog tired because we were sleeping in like bunks there, and people were always coming and going and making noise, and it's like army barracks. So I didn't sleep very well, a little sleep deprived. Anyway, I'm laying in my bed all alone. No sleeping pills, no booze, nothing. I'm just there. I'm out, and I'm laying on my back, and then all of a sudden I start to feel electricity buzz through me. And this is something that I felt many times. This means here comes the astral projection. Get ready. We're taking off. And it's almost like, I don't know, like a tingling all over through my fascia or something. It's really hard to explain, but I know it when I feel it. And it's similar to sleep paralysis. So I couldn't move my body. I wasn't really trying to. You know, here's an interesting thing that you might find of interest. If you've ever fallen asleep beside someone, and then right before they go to sleep, their body shakes like that. Do you know what that is? That is your brain turning off your spinal column, right? All the nerves down below, so that in your dreams, when you're running and jumping, you don't actually move your body. So that's your lower extremities being turned off. And that's what sleep paralysis is, when that gets turned off, but you're still wide awake, and it really freaks people out. So then I started to hear like a modem sound in my ear. Remember those old, 1200 baud modems? They would like squeak, go, ee, and then they would connect. So that's what I was hearing. It was like I was connected to a different frequency, perhaps. And then anyway, I shot out of my body, went up through the ceiling and the roof of my house. I looked down, I saw things getting smaller and smaller. I saw New Zealand getting smaller and smaller. And then I turned around and I was in space. So cool. And I was fully alert. This is nothing like a dream or a lucid dream, of which I have many lucid dreams. That's a whole nother category. I wasn't in control, like someone else was moving me around, which is fine. I was kind of on rails. And then I was just floating out there in space. And then suddenly I'm inside this 3-dimensional geometric shape, right? I just see the outlines. I still see space through it, but it's like a dodecahedron or some other kind of platonic solid. And it's like shining with like bright, like neon green outlines. If you think of, like D&D dice, they come in all those shapes. So it's slowly spinning around me. I'm like, wow, this is weird. And then it got weirder because a mathematical formula popped up in front of me. And I could kind of understand it. My minor was in math, but it was still a little complicated. It doesn't mean that I'm that great at math. And that was a long time ago, frankly. So I was looking at it, I was like, wow, this is so cool. What is happening? And then just as I'm starting to grok it, it disappears. I'm like, oh man. And then I'm inside of a different shape, a different platonic solid, like a tetrahedron or something. And now it's glowing with a different color on the outside. Maybe it was green. I can't remember, but I remember the colors changing. And now I'm presented with another mathematical formula. I'm like, what? This one's a little more complex. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh my God, is this a math test? And I'm like totally failing. And then anyway, that one disappeared. And then I'm inside of another shape, still seeing the stars, and another mathematical formula appears in front of me. And this is all like, integrals and differential equation. It's all, there's symbols that I know. I've had other DMT experiences where I see math, but they're alien symbols and I don't know what they mean. So this is easy to figure out, but I just don't have enough time. So that one disappears and I'm really cogent and very aware. Now I'm not like groggy or anything. And I start talking to whatever force is sending me out there. I'm like, guys, this is awesome, but you got to go slower. This is too much information too quickly. Anyway, this proceeded to happen like 3 or 4 more times. I was in all these different shapes, seeing different math formulas. And then I was taken to a final thing. It was more of a room. And now I was presented with a laptop. It was almost like an old school laptop, like a TRS-80 with like a green screen. And it started to present to me a mathematical proof. And I don't know if you know what a proof is, but a proof is not just like one formula, but you start out with one line, then the next line, the next line, and it goes all, it went down like 12 or 13 lines. And it was going so fast. I was like, guys, this is way too fast. It's awesome. Maybe it's a big cosmic practical joke. It says like 0 equals 0. Or maybe it was the formula for cold fusion. I just don't know. And then I was taken to another room and there was like a big dragon, like this kind of almost a video gamey type dragon. And then they gave me some fireballs that I could throw at the dragon and have some fun. And I just ended up back in my bed. I thought, what on earth was that? But I have been able to make sense of it since. I don't remember the formulas, sadly. But ever since my event in Scotland, when I collapsed on the bed and went away for a while, I have been getting more downloads like this. Oh, I forgot to mention, maybe I'll put it down in the thing. So that Lakota Sweat Lodge thing was 4 years ago. And my event in Scotland where I went to the spirit world was like 1 year ago. So I've been playing with this weird veil between the physical world and the spiritual world for a while. But since my event in Scotland, I've been astral projecting a lot more. I see a lot more symbols flash in front of my eyes. In fact, even when I'm wide awake and I close my eyes now, like I'm totally blind in this eye, blackout blind. So I only see out of this eye. But when I close this eye, sometimes in the middle of the day, I see symbols. Like I see about 3 a second. They could be, I don't know what they are. It looks like ancient Hebrew or ancient Aramaic. They almost look like mahjong tiles. And they look kind of old and interesting. And they just keep flashing in front of my eyes. I see all kinds of other symbols. Not all the time. It happens maybe once a week or so. So I'm getting weird downloads. And from what I've read in all of my studies, that this does happen to many people. Gosh darn, this is like a full deltoid workout. My God. And that these are kind of getting imprinted on your subconscious, right? And their meaning will be activated later. And I think that that's a big common thing with our DNA. I think that we're all like on these time activated things. Things will happen in our life, or you'll meet someone, or something will happen, or there could be a disaster where you get activated in different ways. Now, I don't know the meaning of all these symbols or why I'm seeing them or why they would ever be useful in the future, but I just trust, because it's too weird of a thing. There must be a purpose. It's all that's happened, ever since my event. I have figured out a lot of stuff about the nature of reality and why we're all here, what happens after you die. I have another video about that, what happens after you die and before you choose to come back to Earth. And so I figured a ton of stuff out, but also, like, let's say I figured out 100 things. Well, now I have 1,000 more questions, other things that are going on that I just can't figure out. So yeah, anyway, I thought I'd share that weird astral projection story. Man, I've got a lot of stories. Maybe I'll just keep making more videos. I don't know. I've already lost half of my demographic, or maybe 75%. They're like, Ratcliff, just go take more photos. What the hell are you talking about? But it's okay. I've never really cared what people think. I think the right people show up at the right time. Maybe I'll put these videos on OnlyFans. Do people ever use OnlyFans for like non-porn stuff? I don't know. I could try it. I mean, I might throw a little porn stuff in, try to build up another demo. Gotta keep my options open. All right, y'all. Love you. And put any questions below in the comments. And maybe I'll do some live stuff soon. Okay. Love you guys. Bye. If you want to see my outfit, look at this thing. I should go hood up because it's a little cold today. A little cold. My God, my arm is so tired.